On the road with the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight from the Honda Center in Anaheim, California. The Blue Jackets and the Anaheim Ducks. Sergei Bobrovsky back between the pipes and likely to play these final 3 games before the Olympic break. 11-2 with a 2.04 goals against average and a .934 save percentage in his last 13 games. And at the opposite end, 200 feet away, Frederik Andersen, who sports an impressive record of 7-0 with a 1.42 goals against average and a .953 save percentage in 8 home starts. Brad Meyer, Justin St. Pierre, the referees tonight. Brad Lazarowicz, Mark Weller, the linesman. Ducks wearing the dark jerseys. The Blue Jackets in their traveling whites. Tonight's telecast presented in high definition by Time Warner Cable, and we are underway with Anisimov winning the opening draw. Anisimov, for the record, scored a pair of goals the first time these two teams met, and it was a goal late in the third period that gave the Ducks the 1-goal victory. A game-winning goal scored by Corey Perry, who leads the National Hockey League in game-winning goals. And there's Corey Perry attempting to get a stick on it right there. Thrown back to the point. Jack Johnson will let one fly. Ricochets off a leg. Played by Nick Foligno. Foligno picking up his first goal in 10 games the other night. Jackets all around that Anaheim net. Do they keep it in? No, they'll dump it back. And hustling back here is Jack Johnson paired with Fedor Turton. Happy to report James Wisniewski, who is walking around in a walking boot, was able to get his skate on, took part in the pregame skate, and is in the lineup here tonight. Jackets beginning a 3-game California trip against the 3 West Coast teams who are a combined 58, 15, and 8 in 81 home games collectively, a .765 win percentage. A huge 3-game trip for the Blue Jackets starting here tonight in Anaheim, but they can't look beyond this one. The Ducks, who have been outstanding, as we mentioned in the open here on home ice, have dropped 3 of the last 5 at the Honda Center, including a 2-0 shutout loss the other night here to Dallas. Toyota 3 keys, and they are brought to us by the good folks at Toyota.
Well, number one, they want to come in here and outwork the Ducks. Anaheim is basically taking too many penalties because they're trying to match the work ethic of the opposition. Bruce Boudreau says they have to be a lot better. Manage the game. Dictate the way the Jackets will play this game. And the North-South hockey. Fast feet, keeping the puck in front of them all night long. That's their goal.
And there is Bruce Boudreau, the colorful and very agreeable coach of the Ducks. He has done a marvelous job, but as he says, they're only as good as the last game, and they have struggled here of late.
He's really not happy with his team's work ethic. Minor penalties have shown that in the last 5 games. Right now, that's their goal tonight. Get started. They know that the Jackets and the way they play, they're going to come out hard.
Had a lot of praise for the Blue Jackets as we visited with Boudreau this morning. And more on that as the game progresses. Our Elk and Elk injury report. Blue Jackets happy to have Marian Gaborik with them on the road trip. Jared Bull back on skates, albeit without the full equipment. Only 2 Blue Jacket injuries to report, and that is certainly a good thing because the Jackets certainly have been beset by injuries most of the year.
It was good to see Gaborik out on the ice today, shooting the puck, working, stopping, and starting. And again, he will not play on this road trip, but it's just great to see him along with the guys.
Up high, Cogliano, who signed a new long-term contract back in January. Koivu reaching for it, played there by Nikitin along the wall, and it's thrown behind the net for David Savard. Pinches it along the boards. Horton chips it up high and out. Puck swept into Jackets territory. Long lead pass here to the offensive blue line. Corey Trapp takes a hit there from Lovejoy. Walking. Now Lovejoy looks to the right wing boards. Dancing through the neutral zone. And in and across the line, Solani heads to the net. Jackets able to defend, and they'll move it back out. Derek McKenzie on for Jack Johnson. Johnson hammers in. Jackets will match up Tootin and Jack Johnson as much as they can against the premier line of this Anaheim Hockey Club. Solani. Puck played deep in Anaheim territory as we approach the 3-minute mark. chopped ahead. Left wing, swept behind the net. Solani looks for it. Solani will play for Team Finland. Telling me this morning he's pretty excited about that opportunity. And at the age of 43, says this is it for him.
Can you imagine? 6 Olympic Games for number 8. And what a tribute to the game.
Right wing feed gets away from Jack Johnson. Getzlaf, Corey Perry in front, Penner, and denied by the glove save of Bobrovsky.
Well, that's what you have to be aware of. That puck gets into that offensive zone. There's one quiet man right there in Dustin Penner. He's been a healthy scratch in 2 of the last 6 hockey games. Today, he is inserted back in the lineup with Getzlaf in the middle and Corey Perry on that right side. He's had a chance to see Tootin get a hold of that puck. But they are on top of it, down in front of the net, and they are big bodies to boot.
James Wisniewski paired with Ryan Murray. Left wing feed. Calvert now steps out of the zone. Matt Calvert dumping it in wide. Now the Anaheim net quickly on it. This is Steckel, the former Ohio State Buckeye. Palmieri had his pocket picked by Ryan Murray. Atkinson now with Dubinsky and Calvert. The 3 cross the line. Dubinsky with a backhand. In front, Anderson wisely comes out and will hold on. Well, just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one tonight, to look forward to Miller Time. Later in the contest, it's brought to you by Miller Lite.
It's good to see the Jackets get up ice, and again, good speed. And they're talking north-south. Get up the ice quickly. There's one example of it when Brandon Dubinsky hits that red line. He comes across with speed, and then he's got the support with the speed of Atkinson on the other side and the tenacity of Calvert on the other.
Jackets win the draw. Jenner gets it ahead here to Horton. Back for Boone Jenner. Johansson heads to the net. Frederick Anderson juggles but holds on.
No, it's a good job by Boone Jenner. Just direct pucks to the net. And, right now, riding a 2-game point streak for Boone, playing anywhere between 13, 15 minutes. And, you know what he's going to bring. It's going to be the body. He'll get his shots on goal, but right now it's a little chemistry for that line.
Horton sweeps it back to the point. Here's Nikitin. Rims it around the wall. Horton attempts to get to it behind the net. Vatanen chasing. Called up due to injury. Vatanen, jersey number 45. We've seen him before. Certainly an offensive flair to his game. Good work by Horton along the boards. Able to keep it in. Nikitin chops ahead. Jackets must clear the zone. That's Koivu. Looks cross ice. Right wing for Cogliano. Can't cradle the puck. Horton right back on it. Nathan Horton dropping it back as we approach the 5-minute mark of this opening period. Left wing, Horton got a piece of it, sends it deep into the zone. Jackets will change up. The Ducks looking to come out of their own end. Perreault deals. Allen up on that left wing. Jackets bench was open, at least the gate to the bench. Now just being closed. That could be dangerous. Solani out of the corner. Sweeps it back behind the net. Played by Maroon. Maroon, Perreault, and Solani up front. 5 minutes plus gone. Corey Trapp will chip it over the defenseman, and it sails the length of the ice. Will get an icing call.
Watch the Blue Jackets in style. A Nationwide Arena luxury suite. Entertaining in a suite? Well, it means the finest in personalized service, comfortable seating, ample meeting space, and privacy. For more information, contact the Blue Jackets Group Event Specialist at 614-246-PUCK or visit BlueJackets.com.
From the faceoff, Trapp to center. Dumping in. Jackets change up here as play continues. Almost to the 5.5-minute mark of this opening period. Getzlaf deals to the far side. Right wing pass looking there for Dustin Penner. Jackets Tootin intercepts. Bouncing puck gets away from an easy mob. And there's Corey Perry with a quick shot. Bobrovsky on the edge of the paint will hold on. Well, tonight's broadcast is on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces serving in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea. They are watching around the world in Iraq, Germany, Italy, Southwest Asia, South Korea, Japan, and we'd certainly like to welcome them, and to all the men and women of Armed Forces worldwide, thank you for what you do. Right in on Bobrovsky. The puck quickly cleared to the right wing boards. Dubinsky, or rather, excuse me, that is Foligno, who sends to the line. Stepping up and hammering the puck in was Lindholm. Jackets will come back and retrieve, and Fedor Tutin takes the hit there from Corey Perry. Up along the left wing, Umberger slips and falls, and Isimov now walks in and across the line, and Isimov knocked off the puck there by Lovejoy. He certainly loves to play the body. Lovejoy now chips it off the wall. Jackets try to get to it and do. Here's Foligno. Flips a backhand into the corner, and it's Cam Atkinson. Tripped up there by Lovejoy. Play continues. Ducks look to walk out and do from center ice. Calvert unable to trap that puck as Steckel sends it in. Up along the near board. It's thrown by Winnick into the corner. Cycling out there is Palmieri. Now Winnick will try again, getting an arm around him. The Jackets defenseman Ryan Murray. The shot cross ice. And Steckel unable to play it.
That's their patented move. They like to go D to D and then make that backdoor cross ice pass to the top of the circle. But right there, that puck just jumped over the stick.
Left wing feet. Calvert using that speed. Cuts in. Vatanen able to defend as it goes off his skate. Calvert and Vatanen continue to battle. Vatanen just recalled for today's game. And listening to Boudreau talk about him, they expect him to be a little more responsible defensively. Likes to be physical, certainly has an offensive flair. But I guess on his first tour of duty this season was thinking too much offense and was caught up ice. Boone Jenner now. Good work along the boards. Gets it back here to Nikitin, who fans on a shot. Watch out, Cogliano, who can fly. And a quick move there by Johansson. Jackets, David Savard. Savard with a right wing feed. Approaching the 8-minute mark. Savard takes it from Horton. Head up. Jackets break out through the neutral zone, and Savard will chip in. Jenner in pursuit. First in on the forecheck. Horton right there along with him. Able to dig it free. Boone Jenner. Jenner keeps the feet moving, but it is Solani who sends ahead. Fowler joining the rush offside the call. Ducks with 6 of the first 8 shots. 11:52 remaining. Scoreless first period from Anaheim.
The products of the freshman class of 2005 through 2007. Fred Berenson at the University of Michigan. You got Andrew Cogliano on the left and Jack Johnson on the right. Andrew Cogliano, first-round pick with Edmonton back in that 05 draft. And Jack Johnson, of course, we all know being a third-rounder or third overall pick. But you know what? They're players that when they played it, they were all CCHA players. They represented their country. And the other thing is they were roommates and best buddies for those 2 years.
Now, we talked about the matchup preceding tonight's contest and the fact that Jack Johnson and Fedor Tutin would likely be matched up as much as possible against the high-scoring trio of Getzlaf, Perry, and tonight it is Dustin Penner on the left wing. And we suspect that will be the matchup to keep an eye on all night long. Those two have had outstanding seasons. Getzlaf at home, 33 points. Perry at home with 30 points. 16 of them are goals.
Between them two, Jeff, when you look at game-winning goals, you count on those two guys to make it happen. 16 game-winning goals between the two of them.
Corey Perry leading the National Hockey League in game winners, including one against the Blue Jackets in the first meeting. Less than 12 minutes left. Opening period in a feeling-out process here. Both clubs bouncing puck. Bobrovsky fights it off and gets the face-off.
For college and high school students, enjoy a night out and experience Blue Jackets hockey with CBJ Rush student tickets. Again, that's presented by Papa John's. Tickets start at just $15, and each ticket includes a free offer from Papa John's. Go to bluejackets.com/rush for complete details. There's a look at Getzlaf making his way to the bench. And talking to Teemu Selanne this morning, Getzlaf held that private meeting between the team. And just basically went through the things that need to be done. They're not happy about losing at home. They have to get their identity back in check. And that's the start here tonight. They're starting to take the body. But right now, I think the Jackets are playing a great road game for the first 10 minutes.
Well, what they're doing is they're keeping Anaheim on the perimeter as far as those shots are concerned. They've got a decided edge in shots, but they're not coming from the slaughter in front of Bobrovsky, who's able to see them from a distance. And that certainly will work the Jackets' advantage if they're allowed to keep that going.
Well, Columbus Blue Jackets hockey is brought to you by Nationwide Insurance, the official insurance provider of your Columbus Blue Jackets. And remember, Nationwide is on your side.
Steckel wins the draw. Fourth line out there now for Anaheim against the Dubinsky trio. Ryan Murray steps out. Battle ensues. Below us here at center ice. James Wisniewski walking around all day in that walking boot. Back on skates. Got the foot into the boot. And in the lineup tonight. Much easier to skate and get, as long as you can get your foot into a boot, than it is to walk. Palmieri denied. Steckel walks out of the corner. Due to injury, he too recalled on the weekend. Played in that game against Dallas Saturday. Not expected to remain with the hockey club. Matt Calvert able to clear, and that's Fowler. Fowler first across the line. The offensive-minded defenseman at the goal line looks to flip it in front. It goes off the Jackets defender and then hammered wide of the net. Saku Koivu on the forecheck with Silverberg. Jackets walk out of the zone. Here's Horton coming quickly. Horton with Vatanen defending, and Anderson makes the stop. Jackets find Horton on the wing. Cross ice, just missing Johansson. Jack Johnson now rims it around the wall. Boone Jenner below that goal line, looking to dance out. Jenner fights off Koivu. Hands to Horton on the half wall. Horton to the point. Feder Tooten, cross ice, quick shot. Jack Johnson off the glove of Anderson. Boone Jenner now, again below that goal line. Koivu is there. Horton there to help out. Jenner dances away from Lovejoy. He's got Horton right there. Nathan Horton looks to that right point. Johansson unable to play it. Jackets to regroup and neutral ice.
So that line right back at it again. The poise and the patience of Horton when he's got a hold of that puck.
Horton in front, scores! A perfect feed, and the red-hot Johansson continues his fine play, and the Jackets get the first goal of the night.
Tell you what, that line is so fun to watch, and we just talk about Horton and his ability when he does have the puck. He slows things down. He attracts people to him, and what's that going to do? It's going to leave a little bit of space, and that's where Johansson right now is so good. You look, a little give, and then a little go, and then that basically frees up a little lane for Johansson to be able to come in. He gets a hold of it and wastes no time. But then that move by Jenner takes the defenseman with him, and then the accurate shot by Johansson. What a play.
Team leading 23rd goal of the season. And the Jackets, who are all around at Anaheim net, first on the board. Horton will pick up the primary assist, and Jenner should pick up one as well. Right wing. Penner. Blocked there by Murray. Justin Penner in and out of that lineup all season long. Re-signed here as a free agent for the second time. He was in LA last year. The shot blocked in front. Jenner indeed picks up the assist, and now in 3 games, this line has picked up 12 points. Corey Perry had a little difficulty, gets back to that bench, and it looks like a shoulder. Solani with a backhand, and that is deflected wide. Talking to Boudreau this morning, I asked him about the Olympics and if perhaps there's a little concern with some of his players with the Olympics now a week away. What about injuries? And he said, matter of factly, yeah, you can see some of the guys looking forward to playing in the Olympics and maybe not blocking the shot as effectively as maybe they were a few weeks ago, and concerned that they might lose a spot on the Olympic team. And Perry continues to get some help on that bench. But the Jackets get the goal from Johansson and the pass from Nathan Horton. 1-0.
There's a look at Brian Allen on the left, and of course our own Dan Hinote on the right. And Danny Hinote left West Point after 1 year, and he headed north, ended up going to play for the Oshawa Generals. And he and Brian Allen played together. A team, well, they played above 500, pretty solid hockey team. Got beat out in the second round in that 97-98 season. But 2 guys that certainly know a little bit about some rough and tough hockey. Brian Allen, one of the best checkers in the OHL. And Danny Hinote, one of the best forecheckers to ever come out of Oshawa in the way they played.
Ryan Murray defends below that goal line. Palmieri attempted to get a stick on it. Steckel does. Looks to walk out. There's Steckel along the far boards. Slips and falls. Palmieri Had it knocked away. Jackets send it to center, and Lovejoy on to Palmieri. Up high, Lovejoy rips it around the board. Ryan Murray is there defending. Wisniewski will chip it by Winnick. Off the point, Fowler. Around the dasher. Centering feed, and alertly, Bobrovsky sees it on that far side and covers up.
Now, this is where the Jackets want to be able to have their shoulders up ice and that puck ahead of them. That is one of the keys in this hockey game tonight, especially against the Anaheim Ducks. They can set up below the goal line and create a lot of offense from there. They have the defense coming in from their point position. They'll come along the boards, look for the one-timers, and then you've got big bodies down in front of the net.
Koivu set for this face-off. Jackets win the draw. Johansson all over Koivu and Tootin. Looking for Jenner on the wing. Francois Beauchemin steps up. The one-time Blue Jacket sweeps it back into the corner. Jack Johnson away from the forecheck. Picked up by Koivu. On to Cogliano. Centering pass. Jackets get a stick on it. That was Johansson keeping it away from Koivu. Beauchemin. Koivu centering pass there once more. Jackets defend. Down low. Jenner unable to get a stick on it. The puck sails deep into Anaheim territory, and we get the icing call.
Well, before the Jackets hit the ice, get ready to join the battle on Blue Jackets Live on Fox Sports Ohio. Blue Jackets Live is brought to you by your Central Ohio Toyota dealers. Let's go places.
Face off to the left of Bobrovsky. Getzlaf will take this draw. Corey Perry does not miss a shift back out there with his regular line mates. Left wing, Jenner sweeps ahead. Power against power here, and it's Corey Perry coming in. On to Getzlaf. Getzlaf for Perry. It hopped over a stick. Dustin Penner to the point. There's a shot by Allen. Bobrovsky sees it through the traffic and holds on. 5 minutes, 58 seconds left. Opening period. Ryan Johansson and the Blue Jackets in front, 1-0.
Here at the Honda Center, Craig Hartsburg, what's allowed for the early success against this team?
Well, I think we've skated pretty well, especially on the forecheck, and you know they're such an offensive, dynamic team that we got to make sure we keep coming back and again no odd man rushes.
The Ducks are out shooting the Jackets right now, but the shots have come from what I would describe as non-dangerous areas. That's got to be a key to that.
Well, they've had a couple dangerous ones, but it seems like there's a few long shots that they've counted as shots, but pretty even game so far.
And right now, when you look at statistics all put aside, Jackets in the face-off department have been outstanding here in period number 1. In fact, right now it'll be 15-3.
Up along the wall. Penner attempting to get a stick on it. Swept into Jackets territory. Bobrovsky out of the net, and quickly Jack Johnson deals to the right wing on Isimov. Through the neutral zone. Stepped in and across the line. Foligno first in on the forecheck. There's Botman. Takes a hit from Foligno. Foligno, in turn, hit by Getzlaf along the wall. Getzlaf able to pinch that puck. Bounces in the air. Jackets R.J. Umberger attempting to get to it. Allen with a left wing feed for Benner. Thrown back to Allen. On for Beauchemin. Francois Beauchemin sends through the center. Solani unable to play it. Jackets' Corey Tropp had it briefly, and now Nikitin will dump in. Anderson leaves it right there for Beauchemin. Corey Tropp on the forecheck. Some help from Letestu. Beauchemin chipped it off the wall. Solani can't play it. Nikitin able to keep it in, but hands it right back to Beauchemin. Right now we got a ping pong game going. Solani gets it ahead. Neutral zone play. Perreault. Across the line, a backhanded attempt that Keaton steps in front of. Derek McKenzie. Points have been the name of his game. 7 points in his last 8 games. Goes hard to the net. Letestu shot sails wide. Beauchemin with a long shift. Nikitin up high. Deals to Letestu. From a sharp angle, sails wide. Comes to the right point for David Savard. On to Nikitin. Traffic in front of Anderson. Wicked bounce off that backboard. And Perreault hands to Solani, who lifts it into Jackets territory.
Smart play there by Nikitin. He had no shot at all. Shoot it wide. Hope it comes off the boards with action.
Dubinsky with a quick shot, and that's off the stick there of Anderson. Matt Calvert in the corner. Loose puck kicked free. Atkinson unable to cradle that puck. Backhanded by Winnick. Crowd getting in the game here, looking for something from the Ducks. Oh, there's a hard hit on Wisniewski with his back to the play, and Wisniewski's got to show some discipline here. Certainly not happy to get that hit, but a penalty upcoming, and the Jackets will get the first power play.
Well, you could tell Wisniewski again, he just held his breath, went over and started to chat and make sure that Palmieri knew exactly what was going to go on. He wasn't going to match that up with another minor penalty, so the Jackets will get the first power play of the night. That's Justin St. Pierre making that call. They're calling a cross-check. As you can see going in, they finish the check on Winnick, and then right from behind, Palmieri just gives Wisniewski a little bit of a shot. Wisniewski about 5 feet off those boards. Lucky enough, able to brace himself.
Jackets come in tonight in the top half in power play efficiency at number 15. 18.4%, excuse me, with 34 power play goals. The Ducks tied for 11th in penalty killing. Johansson tries to walk around Beauchemin, who slid in front of that attempted move. The Jackets are forced back to neutral ice. Anisimov, Johansson, Horton up front. Jack Johnson and Wisniewski on the point. Of course, Wisniewski amongst the league leaders in power play points by defensemen. Johansson, who has the goal, on to Horton. A pass in front. Fowler able to get a stick on it. As Jack Johnson had peeled in off the point. Look for that backdoor play. Jackets change up. Fresh legs come on the power play.
That was great passing there by the Jackets. That backdoor's wide open, and Fowler, you're right, Jeff, just got a stick on it.
Here's Dubinsky. Back for Matt Calvert, who's lost his stick. Wisniewski steps back into his own zone. Deals it on the wing for Calvert. On to Dubinsky. Atkinson looking for some open ice in the slot. Dubinsky hangs on. Throws a backhand. Knocked down by Atkinson. Right back here to Ryan Murray. Ryan Murray amongst the leaders in points by rookies. In fact, number 1 as far as rookie defenseman in the month of January with 10 assists.
Well, let's take a look at that last play. Again, the Jackets do get a chance to set up. Once that puck gets inside that offensive line, you look where Calvert goes. Right down in front of the net, looks for the tip, then watch after the fact. He gets a little shot of Brian Allen. Calvert gives it right back to him. Good play right there by Nikita.
Face-off to Anderson's left. It will be Dubinsky. Making the face-off for the Jackets. Steckel wins that draw, and he is a premier face-off man. For whatever reason, has difficulty remaining in the National Hockey League, but when he's up here in the NHL, dominates in that face-off circle.
You had a chance to listen to Boudreau talk about him this morning. Very trustworthy. He's a guy that shows up each and every game, and he's probably one of the premier call-ups, he says, right now with his hockey team.
Final seconds in the Palmieri penalty. Shots are even at 8-8. Ducks have not had a shot on goal for several minutes now of this opening period. A little more than 90 seconds left. Shot by Foligno. Ricochets off a leg and wide. Tooten looking for Umberger. R.J. Umberger able to knock that puck down. Comes back to Tooten again. Up high, the wrist shot blocked by Beauchemin, and this time sent out of the zone. Letestu dumping in. Allen chips it off the wall. Umberger in pursuit. Ducks able to clear that zone. Penner squeezes through along the wall. Corey Perry darts through that area. And now with less than a minute to go, it's Foligno. Left wing at center across the line. Foligno going wide here on Lovejoy. Lovejoy finishes the check, but Foligno continues to battle in the corner. Gets some help here now. Centering pass there for Horton, who could not convert. And backhand to forehand. Up high. That's Johansson. On for Horton. Traffic in front. Foligno sets the screen. Jack Johnson in for Horton. Nathan Horton now fires. That shot is blocked. And Johansson, I think, is the one that stepped in front of that shot.
I think he might have. Tell you what, when he hit him, again, he went down like a bag of wheat.
Left wing Tooten. Late in the period. Horton stopped in front of the Anaheim bench. Second effort, chops into the zone. Final seconds kicking off here in the opening period of play. Jackets from a sharp angle, the pad stop of Anderson. Little pushing and shoving at the whistle as Murray was knocked down. Calvert's got something to say. Officials step in. No further damage. Jackets outshoot the Ducks 10-8 in the opening period. And a goal by Ryan Johansson and some solid stops by Sergei Bobrovsky after 20 minutes of play out here in Southern California. The Blue Jackets leading 1-0.
That's what it boils down to is Ryan Johansson. He had the goal, but I'll tell you what, it was the work of Horton and Jenner to be able to create that space and then that quick release, his 23rd of the year.
So we're set. Teams have traded ends. Jackets certainly took the play away from Anaheim as that period went on. They'll have to continue that here in the second. Getzlaf, Anisimov set for the faceoff. And from the draw, Getzlaf wins it. Allen backing up. Gets it to Penner. Penner unable to get a stick on it, and Umberger dumps in. Foligno in pursuit. He'll get there first. Foligno cycles out of the corner. Looks to the left wing point. Tootin lets one fly, and Anisimov in front. He had, as we mentioned earlier, a pair of goals in the first meeting between these two teams and could not get a stick on it. He was behind the defense and unable to redirect it off the side of the net, perhaps even that side of the goalpost. Anaheim cleared the center. The puck here played by Jack Johnson and rifled right back in. Bouncing puck. Corey Perry unable to clear the zone. Getzlaf takes a hit from Calvert. Matt Calvert giving up some size and certainly some weight. Got a pretty good hit there on Getzlaf.
Well, you got that gets you in the hockey game as well. Nice play there by Calvert. But how about that play getting the puck on the stick in the slot was Atkinson. Kind of surprised him.
Lovejoy, right wing feed. Stepping up, Ryan Murray. Reaching forth there is Winnick. Winnick taken out of the play. Dubinsky shovels it up, but not out. He'll get another opportunity. Walks it to the line. A pass for Calvert. Tip. Recovers. Unable to get it there to Atkinson. Fowler with a pass. Winnick lets one fly. Palmieri into the corner there for Steckel. Steckel for Winnick. Pass a little high. Fowler off the point. Throws it in front. Jackets defend. And a sweeping pass there for Atkinson. Just fails to clear.
What a great play there by Wisniewski. Good read, react. Was able to step in front of that shot that was going to the net and transition back the other way by the Jackets.
Played by James Wisniewski. Gets it back from Ryan Murray. Looks to the left wing boards. Jackets try to walk into the zone. Jenner fired, but it's quickly cleared, but onto the stick of Nathan Horton. Here come the Jackets again. Horton from the right wing leads Jenner. Jenner away from Koivu. Cycles out of the corner. Up high, Nikitin with a quick shot. Johansson right there got a stick on it, and Anderson will hold on.
And again, where does it all start from? It starts from Horton coming across the line and shows great patience with the puck. And when he starts to be able to hold that puck, he draws attention, which creates a little bit of space. Jenner continues to work. And now watch down in front of the net as that shot is being taken. Again, they've got people there. Jenner's in front of the net. Johansson's in front of the net. And Horton, he's coming in as well, looking for the rebound. And a nice play by that line.
Horton goes quickly into the corner, but Anaheim able to clear. Jackets dump it right back in, clear the zone. Johansson in deep. Francois Beauchemin. Pass on the wing, chopped deep into the zone and called on the icing.
Well, nightly on Fox Sports Live, Jay Onrait and Dan O'Toole, they bring you all the scores, all the news, and all the highlights you're going to ever need. Don't miss Fox Sports Live. That's nightly at 11 on Fox Sports 1. To find Fox Sports 1 on your provider, go to foxsports1.com right now.
Off the wall. Cogliano looking to the right wing board. Jackets defend. Cogliano slides it cross ice. It'll be played here up on the left wing by Derek McKenzie. His pass just fails to get to the tester. Anaheim look to the right wing boards. Dump into Jackets territory. Bobrovsky to play. David Savard protecting that puck. Chip free. Perreault to the point. Quick shot. Stick to side. Alertly there by Bobrovsky. Allen in off the point. Perreault tied up in front. Solani. And it glanced off the shoulder of Bobrovsky. Solani, the oldest player in the National Hockey League. Here's a quick attempt. Another shot by Maroon. And the high stick catches Bobrovsky in the face mask. He appears to be all right.
Well, let's take a look exactly what happened on this last play. And where does it all start? How about Anaheim below the goal line? We talked about that during the break. The Jackets trying to flush them out below that goal line and then force them to play in front of you. And that's where the Jackets, they can play the best. A nice job there by Bobrovsky to be able to make that save. You can see Savard pinching off Perreault. And then that quick shot by Solani. A better save by Bobrovsky.
16:43 left in the second. Steckel set for the face-off here against the Blue Jackets. Dubinsky. Dubinsky cleanly wins the draw. Jack Johnson circling the net, looks for Atkinson. Chipped off the wall. Fowler backpedals. Fowler's pass for Steckel on the right wing. Dubinsky finishes the check. Here's Winnick across the line. One-time Phoenix Coyote. Double team shot from a sharp angle. Sails wide. Fowler left point. Deals to the right side. Lovejoy the long shot. That's redirected off the stick of Perreault. Right wing. Atkinson with Matt Calvert. Atkinson chips it by Fowler. Lovejoy held in check there by Calvert. Dubinsky steps up, pinches it in along the wall. Dubinsky from a sharp angle. The shot is blocked by Lovejoy. Steckel. Head up, walks to the line. Skates to center. Bounces one off Bobrovsky. And Fedor Tutin's pass for Jack Johnson picked off. Thrown back up high. Allen. Votman. Corey Perry out of the corner. Lets one fly off the mark. Allen now. Heels it off into the corner. Getzlaf. Held in check there by Jack Johnson. We've talked about that matchup from the outset of tonight's telecast. There is Foligno. Turning away. Foligno. On for Jack Johnson. Johnson takes a hit. Makes the play. Out of that right wing for Anisimov. Held in check and Getzlaf will circle deep in his own zone before dishing it out.
Well, a nice play there by Anisimov to get across the line. They almost had themselves a 2-on-1, but a good read coming through the neutral zone.
Captain Getzlaf backhands in. Bobrovsky steers to the corner for Jack Johnson. Off the wall, looking for Horton. Picked off there by Anaheim. Jackets control below that goal line, and it's Fedor Tutin. Tutin away from Corey Perry. Jenner held in check. Lindholm. Long stretch pass here for Cogliano. On the wing, Getzlaf. Right side, in front. Oh, an outstanding stop. Moving laterally. Bobrovsky denying Anaheim on that rush. Ryan Johansson with a backhand. Off Getzlaf. Jenner chopping it away. Horton in pursuit. Horton with a hit along the wall. Wisniewski able to keep it in. Jenner hustles on that left side. Puck bounces. Beauchemin looking for the handle. Johansson. Jenner to the point for Wisniewski. James Wisniewski hands to Murray. On for Jenner. Traffic in front of the net. Ripped wide by Boone Jenner. Johansson back here at the point for Murray. Murray looking for Horton. Jenner will play it below that goal line. Jackets. Wisniewski off the point. Getzlaf with a long lead pass here for Silverberg. Walks out of the corner. Former Ottawa Senator draft pick. Hired in the trade that saw Bobby Ryan join the Senators. Jackets attempt to chop it out of the zone. Maroon bumped along the boards. There's Wisniewski for Johansson. Late in the shift, Johansson will send it out. Approaching the midway point of the second period of the hockey game. Perreault on for Solani. Across the line, Solani knocked away from him. Kept in up high by the hustle of Perreault. Long shot. Bobrovsky there on the edge of the goal crease, and he will hold on. As we go to break, here's the save of the night. And number one candidate for the Ohio Health Great Save. Watch this lateral move as Bobrovsky kicks out the right pass.
43-year-old Teemu Selanne, going to be a six-time Olympian, as we talked about before, but had a chance to chat with him this morning about Jarmo Kekalainen, and he said, you know what, this guy is so focused. He is really detailed. He is perfect in every way. It's the way he played the game. He was a freak for hockey training. He says, before I was playing in the National Hockey League, he invited me to his hometown. He taught me English. He taught me the hockey language. 5 to 6 hours a day for a week. And we basically went through the game. He told me everything we had during the course of the days. And at night, we had a chance to socialize.
And they'll be reunited for the Olympics. Jarmo Kekalainen, assistant GM. Look at Atkinson. Nice move. As he walked around the defenseman. Team Finland will have Selanne on that right wing. And again, Jarmo Kekalainen will head out along with the other Olympians. It'll be a big part of that Finnish team that will compete in the Olympics.
The respect that the team who talked about Jarmo today was just unbelievable. He sat there for 10 minutes, just told stories about how Jarmo was such a country hero and being able to play in the National Hockey League, and he owes a lot to a guy like Jarmo in his development.
Well, we were here in Anaheim last year, just a day or two after Jarmo Kekalainen was hired as general manager. And we talked to Selanne that day, and he had a lot of positives to say about Kekalainen, and thinking as he becomes the first European-born general manager in the National Hockey League that he was perfect for the job. Selanne this morning talking in terms of the Olympics. His wife will accompany Selanne to the Olympics. His kids won't go, as so many Olympians are. A little concerned, obviously, about the security, but they have been assured, as have all the Olympians, that the security will be extremely tight. Anisimov. Right wing through Fetter 2. Puck dumped into the zone. Beauchemin quickly gets back. Jenner and Horton right there. Not giving Beauchemin much room to work. Jackets certainly are hustling here. As Horton is knocked down, gets back up. Skates behind the net. Beauchemin takes a hit there from Jenner. Boone Jenner. Murray. Off a stick. Horton hustles to it. Horton away from Beauchemin. Horton hangs on. Gets it back here to Murray. On to Johansson. A quick shot there. Deflected. We got to appreciate Nathan Horton. He hangs on to that puck. Waits, shows patience on each and every shift.
Well, fans, the All-Star Passport is the best way to guarantee tickets for the 2015 NHL All-Star Weekend. You can lock in your seats to see hockey's biggest stars right now. You'll enjoy 6 games of your choice at preferred pricing this season, and the best seats at the best prices for a quarter, half, or full season plan next season. For details, go to BlueJackets.com today.
One thing that's been consistent about the line put together, this being the third game, Johansson, Jenner, and Horton, game primarily when they're on the ice is played in the offensive zone. Here is McKenzie off the pad there of Anderson. Dustin Penner, right wing at center. Chips it by Murray. 2 go to the wall. Penner battles. Some help from Letestu. It's swept ahead from McKenzie. Derek McKenzie not giving up on it. Kicks it out of the zone, and there's Corey Trop. Trop with Letestu. Trop for Letestu, and it's broken up by Allen.
A good battle along that wall. Those are the battles you have to win in period number 2. You're going to beat this hockey team. They are plus 30 in this second period. The Jackets right now beginning to outwork the Anaheim Ducks.
Cogliano dropping it back for Fowler. 9.5 minutes left in the second. Cogliano drop pass Koivu. Lets one fly. Blocked there by Savard. Second attempt by Koivu. And it's right up into the glove of goaltender Bobrovsky. The Blue Jackets lead 1-0. 9:23 left in the second.
continue to lead 1-0 here at the Honda Center. Dan, how important is it that the Jackets continue to take their game to Anaheim as opposed to the other way around?
Well, you let them get a little momentum in this barn, and you can call it a night because they don't lose here very often. So you have to keep the momentum as long as you can, because if you're spending time down here in their D zone, then they can't spend time in our O zone. That's kind of the key right now.
Do you see your team gaining confidence as this game moves along? I mean, you're skating right with them, and in many cases outplaying.
Well, I think it's been, pretty even up and down both sides. And it's basically who's ever got the puck in each other's zone is having the momentum, and they're dangerous in our end. And right now we're proving that we're a little bit dangerous in their end.
You go back to that save, the 2-on-1 that Bobrovsky made, taking advantage of a Jackets line change. Again, that long change has such an effect.
Fowler with a quick shot in front. Jackets able to chip it to the wall. Atkinson. A clearing pass up the left wing board. Dubinsky. Up played here by Anaheim. Fowler leading the rush. Fowler across the line. Centers the puck. Nikitin defending. Loose puck cycling out of the corner. Quick shot there. Stick aside. 18-14 the shots. Anaheim. Delayed penalty upcoming. They will go to the power play. Anderson out of the net. Sixth skater on. Played here by Getzlaf. Anaheim captain. Head up. Sends it right off the leg of Atkinson. And the first penalty will be assessed here to the Blue Jackets. And over to make the call, Brad Meyer.
He makes the call. Everybody in the building can hear it. And again, if you read lips, it's a hooking call. And let's take a look. As you watch into the corner, here's Savard makes his play, and that was not it by any means. It was on the other side of the ice. As Matt Calvert being able to get that stick in the midsection just briefly. Minor penalty called.
Anaheim on the power play, 14th, just slightly ahead of the Blue Jackets at 18.6%. Jackets on the penalty kill, 16th best. And that's quite an improvement for the Blue Jackets. The penalty kill was 25th back on the 2nd of January as they cleared the puck. They're now 16th. And since the 2nd of January, where they've moved up some 9 spots, they killed off 35 of 43 opposition power plays. One reason, penalty kill certainly has been stronger, but they have been more disciplined as well, limiting the number of power plays. And here with a high stick, play whistled down, and they're going to move it all the way back into Anaheim territory as the puck was knocked down by the high stick.
Well, Anaheim's power play, again, you talked about it, Jeff. Again, they have some guys that certainly know where that net is. And Getzlaf starting to shoot the puck more. Solani, he likes that back door with that one-timer. You have Perry, who likes to be able to create his offense starting from below the goal line and then moving out, and including his defense. So they've got a lot of weapons. The Jackets right now just want to continue to take away those shooting lanes.
Now they're missing their number one power play player, and that's Bonino. 19 points, 6 of them are goals. He leads with 13 assists. R.J. Umberger able to swat it out of the zone and send it back into Anaheim territory. Less than a minute left in the Ducks power play. And the Jackets able to clear, forcing the Ducks back in their own zone. Anderson flips it ahead. Vatanen momentarily stops behind the Ducks net. Vatanen flips a backhand pass on the wing for Perreault. Perreault drops it back for Lindholm. Jackets intercept. Good anticipation by Dubinsky, and then he chops it the rest of the way.
It's good he stayed right with it. Again, stop, start. That puck came right back to him, was able to ice it.
Solani, Koscheman, shoveled ahead. Getzlaf, chops to the near corner. Corey Perry looking to cut it off. Waits on that off wing. And the Jackets clear. Calvert's out of the box and takes the pass. Allen comes back. Good work by Calvert. And then Allen drops in front of it. Heads up play by the Jackets to spring Calvert free. And then a nice move to get around Allen, who recovered with that long reach and is able to redirect the Calvert attempt. Icing will be the call here. Race for the puck, and it's waved off. Henner showing some hustle. Getzlaf fights off the Blue Jacket defender and sails the puck wide. Out of the corner. Jackets moving up. Not out. David Savard throws it back behind the net. Nick Keaton will play it. Less than 6 minutes left. Looking for Boone Jenner on the left wing. Puck sails deep into Anaheim territory. Now a long lead pass there. Johansson knocking down Koivu.
A nice play by Savard and Nikitin, being able to utilize the entire defensive zone, moving the puck. That's what you like to be able to see. Taking a little time off of that clock, as well as being able to control the puck.
Far side of the ice. Francois Beauchemin on for Fowler. Left wing at center. Wisniewski chops it out of the zone. Horton knocked down there by Silverberg. Fowler back to play. Jackets change up as play continues. Less than 5 minutes remaining. If you've joined us late, Johansson midway through the opening period, assisted by Horton and Jenner. The only goal in the game. Calvert comes out of the penalty box, and a heads-up play springs him loose, but Allen recovering with the big body able to block the attempted shot. Sergei Bobrovsky has faced 19 shots. He's turned all of them aside, and he is the subject of tonight's Ohio Health Great Save.
Well, it was the first odd man rush given up by the Jackets here in period number 2, and you can see Cogliano coming in that back door. Beautiful pass by Perry. As again, Cogliano looks like he has the net, but Bobrovsky takes it away.
Draw one by Steckel. Allen turns it over. Here's Umberger behind the defense, and he's drawn a penalty. A tripping call against Anaheim here will put the Jackets on the power play for the second time tonight.
Well, let's see if Justin St. Pierre's microphone is working. Nope. All night long, it is a tripping call, but you can see Umberger gets an opportunity. In fact, I mean, he had himself a clear-cut breakaway. But again, a good penalty right there on behalf of Anaheim. He goes to the penalty box, and the Jackets will have their second power play of the night.
They're 0 for 1, 2 shots in the previous attempt. Here's Wisniewski floating one in. Umberger down, and Anderson in the paint covering up with Umberger right there.
And we talked about in period number 1 the dominance of the Jackets in the face-off department, and it continues. And especially when you get in the special team situations, penalty kill, and in this case the power play, you'll see that the Jackets, they get on top of the puck, and that's where the wingers help out the centerman. And then that pass back to Wisniewski, he wastes no time whatsoever, as there's again a lot of traffic in front of the goaltender, and the Jackets doing exactly what they need to do.
Jack Johnson up high, floats one in. It was redirected, but just bounced wide. On the open corner, and Anaheim able to clear. Fresh legs come on for the penalty kill. James Wisniewski. Wisniewski steps to center. Dropped it back. Winnick bumped off the puck there by Foligno, and alertly so. Less than 90 seconds left in the power play. Here's Wisniewski through the neutral zone. Drops it back for Foligno. Foligno stopped at the line, but Letestu up with that loose puck. Jack Johnson, Letestu back here for Jack Johnson. The open man Wisniewski. Pressure coming. Tipped away. Jack Johnson recovers. Anaheim very aggressive on the penalty kill. Has 2 forwards up high and almost spun loose. Less than a minute on the power play. Jack Johnson walking the line. Foligno wanted that puck. Now chops it to the corner. Jack Johnson looked him off. Foligno has it. Tried to feed Letestu. Back here for Jack Johnson. Good save at the line. Foligno. Up along the wall. On for Letestu. Drops the pass. Wisniewski lets it fly. A goal! And it was redirected. It's 2-0. It's a power play goal. That went off somebody in front. But the Wisniewski shot from the point finds its way to the back of the net. And the Jackets lead 2-0.
And again, great work And you can see along the wall, Anaheim, they will pressure. The two forwards are right there, but a good play. And that back pass that basically goes across the width of the ice. And Wisniewski, again, he quarterbacks it. He lets the shot go. Look at the stick of Umberger showing it, but I don't know if it hit Umberger at all. It might have gone off the skate of Cam Fowler. But again, nice play along that wall by Letestu to be able to free that puck up, cross-ice pass, and then the quick release by James Wisniewski to make it happen. That's a power play goal for the Jackets. There's another look at it. Look at that pass by Letestu. That now opens up the shooting seams.
That may have gone off the skate. I think it went off Umberger's skate.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jeff.
I think it went right off Umberger's skate, and there was a little bit of a mild protest from the Anaheim bench that it may have been directed into the net. But that was not redirected at all by the skate or a kicking motion. But Umberger gets the goal as it went right off his skate, and the Jackets lead 2-0. Here's Dubinsky, knocked away. Up along the wall. Backhanded for Solani, deep into the zone. Jackets, Umberger from Wisniewski and Mark Letestu. The power play goal puts the Jackets in front 2-0.
Well, what a play. And again, Umberger positioned himself down in front of the net. Basically, all signs were, here's my stick. If you can hit it, great. But it ends up going off of that skate. But what created it, the pressure by Anaheim along the wall, and then the safety valve of Letestu to be able to make that pass cross-ice right onto the stick of James Wisniewski.
Right wing feed for Solani with Perreault, who now peels off and heads to the bench. Less than 3 minutes left. Columbus 2. Anaheim no score. Murray, nice feed to Boone Jenner. Jenner hangs on to that puck, and it's on to Johansson. Ryan Johansson unable to keep it in. Pressure coming. Hustling here, Corey Perry. Circles the net. Perry lets one fly. Gloved ahead, but not out. Jackets defenseman Ryan Murray with a broken stick. Johansson feeds Nathan Horton. Horton looking for Boone Jenner. Knocked down there in front by Vatanen. And clear deep in the zone. Perry gets an arm around Tootin. Tootin not giving up much ground there to Corey Perry. Horton pressures. Dustin Penner out of the corner. Unable to keep it in. Lindholm sweeps ahead after Anaheim clear the zone. Less than 90 left.
Now right now you start to look at that clock. Again, good puck movement. Keep the puck out of the middle of the ice. And allow block shots to come your way. And be responsible.
Cogliano dumping in. Penner Tootin avoids a hit. Tootin off his skate. Tootin keeps it away from Cogliano. Jack Johnson now flips it back in. Less than a minute to go. R.J. Umberger darts into the zone. Umberger from a sharp angle. Anderson down, and he'll cover up. 54.9 seconds remain. All rights to this broadcast are reserved, and any rebroadcast, recording, retransmission, or other use of the broadcast without the express written consent of the Columbus Blue Jackets is expressly prohibited.
Well, there's a look at Todd Richards, and again, the one thing that he wanted to do coming into this building tonight, play to our strengths, he says. And what is it? Use our size, be tenacious on top of the puck, and again, be puck hunting, go after it, and make sure that that puck stays in front of you all night long.
Lovejoy camped behind the Anaheim net. Fowler sends it up the left wing boards. Win it. In front, shorthanded attempt. There was Bobrovsky. Jackets. Deep on the forecheck, Foligno. Finishes the check there on Fowler. Forces a turnover. Fowler recovers after knocking down Foligno. And a penalty upcoming there. Anisimov reaching for it. Delayed call. Anderson out of the net. Drop pass. Winnick throws to the point. Gets laughed. One-timer Lovejoy. Scramble in front. And Calvert will clear with 9.1 seconds remaining. Anaheim will go to the power play for the second time tonight.
Minutes interference.
Well, they got an interference call. behalf of the Jackets. And again, looking at Todd Richards, I'm the same way, Todd. Again, you take a look at the work in that offensive zone. And here you take a look at Foligno. Look at that little cross check. No call being made. It comes back the other side. And here's where they're going to call a trip. Well, he doesn't even go down. Any way you look at it, interference is the call. Is that right, Jeff?
Tripping.
Tripping? That's unbelievable. He never went down.
From the faceoff. Final seconds tick off. Getzlaf, top of the circle. Shot blocked. Oh boy, Teuton is down in a heap. And the horn goes. Fedor Teuton sacrificing the body there, but back up on his feet after blocking that Getzlaf shot. Sergei Bobrovsky has been outstanding. The Blue Jackets with a couple of key goals. Johansson in the first. Umberger on the power play in the second. And after 40 minutes of play in Anaheim, Columbus lead 2-0. Moments away from third period play after the second. Jackets lead 2-0. Anaheim will start on a power play. And now, here's tonight's AT&T Rewind. For that, we pick up the action in the first period across town where the Los Angeles Kings are hosting the Chicago Blackhawks. No score.
Well, it starts off right away. The Chicago Blackhawks have a power play, and 1:02 of period number one. Well, you'll find Patrick Kane. He finds himself into a position, be able to walk out, make his move. Taves and Sharp, they'd collect assists. That made it a 1-0 game, and then it was 8:44, an even strength goal. They have an odd man rush. Watch on the backside as Kane finds Bickell. Bickell wastes no time at all. That's his 8th of the season. Kane, of course, he'll get the primary assist. Andrew Shaw the second, and currently it's a 2-2 game.
Kopitar just tied it up. As you get a look at R.J. Umberger, who has the Jackets' power play goal in that second period, as it was redirected off his skate. The shot coming from the point. James Wisniewski picking up his 18th power play point. 16 of them are assists. Right now, the Jackets a man short. Anisimov penalized late in period number 2. Anaheim 0 for 1. They did not register a shot on the first power play. Shots favor the Ducks by 1 as we start the third, 21-20. Big kill needed here. Right wing feed there for Corey Perry. Swept away. Palmieri into the zone. Avoids a hit there from Fedor Teuton. Teuton blocking a shot. In the final seconds of the opening period, Letestu winning a battle along the boards and sweeps ahead. Jackets will change up the kill. Less than 90 seconds remaining in the Anisimov penalty. This is Fowler. Drops the pass. Getzlaf, left wing. Corey Perry at the goal line. Turned around there by Teuton. Up high Fowler. Palmieri waits at the right point. Getzlaf for Corey Perry. Right back to the captain, Getzlaf. Fowler. Getzlaf. Top of the circle. Off the wall. Corey Perry rims it around the dasher. Fowler will step up. Perry chased there by Teuton. Jack Johnson now all over Getzlaf. Redirected by the Jackets, but not out. Palmieri purposely sending that wide. Thrown in front. Bobrovsky had the angle. In front again. Matt Calvert attempt to clear. It goes off Petter. 35 seconds remain on the power play. The Jackets have cleared.
Well, it looks like the Jackets may end up turning that puck over, and they just dodged an opportunity as the Anaheim Ducks, once they got a hold of the puck, tried to force the defense. They threw it out on their own.
Perreault, right side for Solani. Right back to Perreault. Up high. Lindholm. This is Solani in the corner. Solani off the side of the net. Maroon chops at it a couple of times. It comes up high and out. Jackets able to clear. Final seconds in the Anisimov penalty. He'll step out. Jackets have killed off both Anaheim power plays. This is Lindholm now. Dumps in deep. Perreault in pursuit. Rimmed around the wall by Wisniewski. Anisimov takes the Horton pass in full flight. Deals to Boone Jenner. Looking for Horton in front. And it's chopped back out and into Jackets territory. Anisimov, Jenner, and Horton. Dish to the right wing boards. Horton pulls the trigger, And Anderson's got it. No further play. How about the AEP power play summary? Jackets with a power play goal. 1 for 2 with 5 shots. Umberger with his 15th. Wisniewski and Letestu draw the assists. Anaheim had 1 shot on the just completed power play. They are 0 for 2 with a manpower advantage.
I'll tell you what, I thought the Jackets did a nice job. Again, Bobrovsky active in the net, but in front of him, he had layers of defense being able to come to his assistance.
And how about the Jackets? Anaheim with a potent power play, but 1 shot on the 2 power play advantages for Anaheim. Great work. How about the Ford game summary?
Well, the Jackets got things going at 11-10, period number 1, an even strength goal. Beautiful play by Horton and Jenner. They'll collect Horton will collect that primary assist, but Johansson his 23rd of the year. And then the power play, 16:43 of period number 2. A shot by Wisniewski, an intended pass, goes off of the skate of Umberger to make it a 2-0 game. And Bobrovsky has been certainly steady all night long.
Draw 1 by Koivu. Lindholm off the wall. Anisimov chops it to the right wing boards. R.J. Umberger. Pressured by Lindholm. Some help there from Foligno. Foligno along the wall. Cogliano pressuring. Thrown behind the net. Oshman off the boards. And out. Long pass. Koivu. Cogliano coming in off the wing. Bobrovsky had the angle and makes the stop. Koivu. Lindholm. Shot redirected and out of play.
Well, after every Blue Jackets game, Fox Sports Ohio breaks down the game and talks to the players and the coaches on Blue Jackets Live, presented by IGS Energy. IGS Energy. Take control of your natural gas and electricity costs and enroll today at IGSenergy.com. There's a look. Sergei Bobrovsky, again, very aggressive in the net tonight, yet controlled.
Oh, nice spot. Another attempt. How did he get the glove on that one? Oh, my. First off the pad, and then reaching back with the catching mitt. Spread eagle across the blue paint, and somehow, some way, he gets a glove on it.
Now, you look at Daniel Linnick, he'll look back, and you see that glove is right up. Again, Bobrovsky moving from his right to left, the glove safe, and then right there, that puck's going into the net, but the glove is right there. Winnick cannot believe it.
From the draw, shot blocked. Jackets chip it up and out. Johansson sends it in. Jenner first on the forecheck. Rimmed around the wall. Fowler able to cradle that puck. Fowler for Lovejoy. Lovejoy hammers in. Right side Palmieri. Defending is Tootin. And Jack Johnson with a hip check sends Palmieri flying. Steckel finishing his check. Now in neutral zone. Look at Jenner with that hustle. Fires on, and Anderson forced to make a bad save. Jenner in the corner. He's got Johansson with him. Boone Jenner protects that puck along the wall. Fowler gets an arm around him. Boone Jenner leading all NHL rookies in hits coming into this one tonight. Murray breaks it up. Steckel follows through. Stick save. Bobrovsky approaching the 5-minute mark. Ryan Johansson ahead here for Matt Calvert with Atkinson. Calvert sends it in deep. Lindholm far side for Beauchemin. Rimmed around the dasher, cut off there by Dubinsky. It goes off his skate and stick and out of play.
Well, fans, the Jackets will be back at home at Nationwide Arena following the Winter Olympic break for a matinee contest against the Florida Panthers. That's going to be on Saturday, March the 1st, 2 o'clock start. Yes, a 2 o'clock start. Get your tickets now at BlueJackets.com or via the Blue Jackets mobile app.
Jackets on this West Coast swing. And then the 2.5-week Olympic break, followed by the Jackets' first start, which will come on the road on the 27th at New Jersey. And then that first home game against Florida, March the 1st, with a rare afternoon game. Dubinsky dishes to the right wing. Long lead pass. Calvert will play it off the wall, but it's swept away by Beauchemin. Dubinsky sends a long one in on Anderson. Frederik Anderson sees it goes off his pad, recovers, and holds on.
There's a look at Todd Richards, and the question was asked this morning. He says, what's been the difference of your hockey team since the December when you started to go on this run? He said 3 different things. Number 1, the addition of Horton, the addition of Calvert, but then the play of Bobrovsky. Those 3 things stand out. And tonight, no difference.
It all started in Phoenix on the 2nd of January. The Blue Jackets debut of Nathan Horton. Matt Calvert returned shortly thereafter. Sergei Bobrovsky, similarly, on that same trip that started in Phoenix. And of course, the rest is history. Jackets rattled off 8 straight wins. The tester missing an opportunity. McKenzie fires it wide. Jackets won 7 of the last 10 road starts. They won 7 of 10 overall. Getzlaf for the centering feed. Chopped ahead. In pursuit there was Maroon. This is Solani. Alternate captain. Dishes Maroon in front of the goal. Perreault takes the pass and beats Bobrovsky from point-blank range.
Well, you look at that cycle of Anaheim. I tell you, they came across the line, and who's the guy quarterbacking it? Much like Horton does for the Jackets, it's Teemu Solani, the experience. And then watch this little scissor cycle. A little give, and then the backhand pass to Perreault, who beats Nikitin to the net. What a job right there on that pass by Patrick Maroon to find Perreault to make this a 2-1 game.
Perreault's 11th. Maroon and Solani draw the assists. Solani with his 22nd assist and 43rd point in this his 41st game against the Blue Jackets. 2-1. And that breathes some life into the crowd. Next goal will be huge. Foligno from center. Crossing the line. Ridden off by Cogliano. Jackets pressure the puck in the zone. Koivu chips it off the wall and out to center. Silverberg hustling into the zone. Good work by Teuton. Silverberg loses his stick. Foligno clearing pass for Anisimov. Jack Johnson jumps up on the play. Johnson on that right wing. Fights off the check. Fires a shot that ricochets all the way out of the zone. Palmieri trying to sweep it by Ryan Murray, who holds his own in the corner. Murray chips it up. Steckel dumps behind. Palmieri looking to walk out. Palmieri from a sharp angle. Jackets block that. This is Winnick now. Daniel Winnick. With Steckel. Calvert comes up with it after the poke check. Calvert able to get it ahead. Horton. Cross ice Johansson. Johansson dumps it wide of the net. Horton in pursuit. Finishing a check there on Winnick. Both players slip and fall. Fowler carries out of the zone. Fowler to center. Fowler across the line. On to Palmieri. Bad save. Murray off the wall. Umberger poke checks it free. R.J. Umberger with a power play goal. Right now the difference in this hockey game. Far side. Maroon. Left wing to center. Solani unable to play that puck. Atkinson fights off the check of Perreault. Teuton dishes cross ice for Wisniewski. Wisniewski walks to the line. Redirected there by Dubinsky. And out of play. 12-11 left, third period. Regulation time. Blue Jackets lead 2-1. Blue Jackets leading the host Ducks 2-1. 12-11 left. Jackets continue this West Coast swing in Los Angeles. We join you Thursday night. In fact, the Kings tonight are hosting the Chicago Blackhawks. And they now trail 3-2 with 5:33 left in the second. An important 3-game West Coast swing for the Blue Jackets before the Olympic break. And the Jackets take a little exception there, Matt Calvert, in the pushing and shoving. And the players must be separated.
No, you got to love Matt Calvert. Again, it doesn't matter the score, the time, what's going on the ice. If somebody is taking away his personal space, he's got something to say about it. And that basically energizes the entire bench and the line mates. Great to see.
From the drop, Fowler off the glass. Bounces through the neutral zone. Palmieri's on it. Defending is Tootin. Pad save. Bobrovsky. Scramble in front. And Jack Johnson able to shovel it off into the corner. Dubinsky settles the puck down. On here for Fedor Tootin. Less than 12 minutes remain. Puck goes off the stick of Calvert, but sails the length of the ice. And it's icing against the Blue Jackets.
That was a great play there. Again, Jack Johnson, you said it right, Jeff. It was a shovel in front of the net. That puck got underneath. As you watch Palmieri, he just directs it to the net in hopes of a rebound. Winnick, he goes down, and Jack, he was not going to be denied, was able to chip it away and up and out of any trouble at all.
Key face-off win there. Dubinsky over. Getzlaf. Boschman drilled by Matt Calvert. Icing the call. Doesn't matter what the size of the opposition is. Matt Calvert's gone after Boschman with a couple of good clean checks throughout tonight's contest. Right there, held Boschman along the wall. Calvert's speed, his tenacity, his physical play here. Certainly appreciated by his teammates and the coaching staff. Anisimov able to keep it in up high. A shot blocked. Umberger able to settle it down from a sharp angle. There's a shot at the goal. Nick Foligno taking that Umberger rebound off the pad. The all-important third goal restores a 2-goal lead. And Foligno now riding a 2-game goal-scoring streak after that mini slump.
And how does this all start? Well, first of all, it's an icing call. The Jackets have an opportunity in that offensive zone to do what they've been doing well all night, and that is the face-off department. Shot being taken. Now watch Umberger. What's he do? Head up, looks, knows he's got a little bit of help in front of the net. And that net front presence by Foligno, he is rewarded with a little bit of a rebound. As Anderson, he is giving that thing up, and Foligno's left all alone. Beautiful job by Umberger and a great finish by Nick Foligno.
Umberger's second point. Had the power play goal in the second. Foligno picking up his 14th goal of the season. Columbus 3, Anaheim 1. Long shot. Tagliano had to drop in front of that one. Waits in the high slot. Bobrovsky turning aside the shot from the point. Rimmed around the boards. Boone Jenner finishing a check there on Votman, and the Jackets have cleared. Hammered right back in there by Allen.
Great play by Jenner. He knew that Votman was going to be pinching, and he countered that as well as anybody.
Approaching the midway point of this third period. Johansson let it get away. There's Maroon along the wall. Horton defending. And the loose puck picked up by Wisniewski. Foligno from Umberger and Anisimov at 8:48. Ryan Murray steps to center. Waited till he got to that red center line before dumping in, avoiding an icing call. Solani along the right wing boards. McKenzie goes awkwardly into the boards, coming back into the play. Shot from a sharp angle. That misses the mark. Solani tried to get a stick on it. McKeaton will flip a backhand for David Savard. Away from the pressure of Perreault, sends it to center. Fowler quickly to Lovejoy. Into Jackets territory. Sent wide. Matt Calvert along the wall. Savard. There's Maroon. McKeaton defends. 9.5 minutes left. Steckel tied up by Savard in front of the net. Solani on that right wing. Solani throws it across the goalmouth as again Savard was dumped by Steckel. Those two have been battling here on this shift. Savard not giving up much real estate in front of Bobrovsky, and he again outmuscles Steckel there. 9:10 left. Calvert able to chop it up and out. Boschman off the bench, drills it right back in. Wide of the net, it'll be played by Savard late in the shift.
A great shift there by Savard. You talked about that battle with he and Steckel. Again, Steckel 6'5", 220 plus pounds, and Savard, that lower body's as strong as anybody in the team.
Here, a break for Atkinson. Atkinson comes quickly and backhands it wide. Foligno back on the ice after scoring on his previous shift. Takes a high stick, and it's from his own teammate there. We're going to call a cross-checking penalty, and I thought it was Foligno being caught by the high stick of his own teammate. Nonetheless, Jackets lead 3-1. They will have a two-man advantage. Both a high-sticking and cross-checking penalties called. Koivu for high-sticking, cross-checking, as well here to Lindholm.
And you can take a look right here. There's the high stick on Foligno, and then watch from behind as Lindholm gives the cross-check to the back of Dubinsky. He's able to catch himself right there.
So, the Blue Jackets, who are 1 for 2 on the power play, will go back on the power play here after scoring on the previous attempt and have a 5-on-3 advantage. A third penalty here, assessed for delay of game. That will be a delayed penalty for delay of game because you can only be down 2 men. The Jackets already with a 2-man advantage here. Move that puck around, and Isimov camped in front. Horton waits on the near post, tries to knock it out of the air. Played there by Wisniewski. James Wisniewski. On to Johansson. Back for Wisniewski. All kinds of traffic in front of Anderson. Puck played there by Dubinsky. Dubinsky hangs on. Off the leg. Thrown up high and out. Again, Koivu for high sticking. Cross-checking to Lindholm. And then Boschman, delay of game. Jackets with a 2-man advantage in a race for the puck. Bobrovsky way out of the net. Getzlaf bumps him. Now the Jackets, Wisniewski walking into the line, and offside the call.
Well, the one thing that the Jackets do, they practice their power play. They're 5-on-4, but they have not been utilizing the 5-on-3 here in the past week. And you can certainly see it in their setup and what they're trying to look for. And when that puck does get low, what they want to do is get that thing back high again, because who's your quarterback? Who's the guy you want it to? It is Wisniewski with the shot. They've got to be able to get shots, look for the rebound, and not get too cute on that backside.
Jack Johnson leading a rush up ice. Darting down that right side, Atkinson. Here's Foligno. Deep in the zone. Lovejoy defending. Atkinson attempts to get a stick on it. Jackets with a 2-man advantage, but give Anaheim their aggressive penalty kill. And again, they clear the zone. 32 seconds remaining on the 2-man advantage. Here is Foligno. Foligno back for 2. Less than 7 minutes left third period. Atkinson settles it down. Atkinson hangs on, fires a shot, and a goal. Atkinson sending it cross ice, and Foligno's got his second of the night. It's a power play goal. Jackets lead 4-1. And now we'll continue with another 2-man advantage. 11 seconds remaining in that 2-man advantage.
They'll take a look at Cam Atkinson. Head up, takes a look, sees exactly what Anderson gives him, tries to force it across, and you'll see that puck. It's deflected and basically finds its way, stopping in the blue of the crease. And who's right there? Well, it's Dubinsky on the Foligno on that backside to be able to put it away. His 15th of the year. Second in the night.
13:07. The time of the goal. Jackets down to precious seconds of a 2-man advantage. The Boschman delay of game penalty is now underway. 5 seconds left in the Koivu penalty for high sticking. Foligno, 15 goals in the year, tying R.J. Umberger in that regard, and they're right behind Atkinson. Cam Atkinson, as you get a look at Foligno, who's got 2 tonight. Goal scorer, score in bunches. Foligno a little concerned. Who had 9+ games without a goal, has 2 here tonight. And the Jackets, they could conceivably have as many as 5 or 6 players by the end of the season, 20 goals or more.
Foligno, he's now just 2 points away from the magic number of 200 points in his NHL career.
Atkinson and Tooten draw the assists on that Foligno power play goal. Less than 90 seconds left now in the Boschman penalty. Jackets continue on the power play. Horton back here for Ryan Murray. Murray pressured, fights off Cogliano's check. Johansson, cross ice, Wisniewski, back here to Murray. Horton kept in front, tried to redirect it, got a stick on it. It gets away from Anderson. Horton hustling to it. Lovejoy defends. Horton gets it free. Anisimov. Horton. Back here for Wisniewski. Back to Horton. Less than a minute left. Horton off the wing, deflected high and off into the corner. Quickly played by the Jackets. Johansson. Murray. Wisniewski. Back for Murray. Horton sets the screen in front. Anderson pushing him out of the way. Horton now at the goal line. Takes the pass. Looks off Lovejoy. And it's Murray up high. 32 seconds remain. Ryan Johansson walks to the net. Short side save. 4-1 Blue Jackets. A little more than 5 minutes left. James Wisniewski redirected off Fowler, and Anderson had to be sharp. 15 seconds remain in the Boschman penalty. Lovejoy will send it the length of the ice. Bobrovsky, the glove stopped and left there for Ryan Murray. Jack Johnson with less than 5 minutes left. Right wing feed. Bounces in wide of the net. Foligno in pursuit. Corey Perry. Cross ice. Penalty's over. Over skating the puck. Foligno with a pair of goals. Moves in. Little toe drag. A scramble in front. And Anderson will hold on. Little pushing and shoving as Foligno walks to the net. And with 4:32 left, we will step aside. Columbus 4, Anaheim 1. 4-1 Jackets lead. Time for tonight's Big Lots, Big Plays, and it is the Foligno pair.
And it's right here in the third period. You'll get a chance to look. A nice play by Umberger. Spots Foligno in front of the net. The rebound comes right out. That's his 14th. And then watch the play by Atkinson. Right through the 5-hole. That puck becomes available. Foligno, he hops on it. That's his 15th. Makes it a 4-1 game.
From the drop. A cross-ice pass, Maroon for Solani, feeds ahead, and Perreault, who has the lone Anaheim goal here early this period. At 5:45 to cut the deficit, but the Jackets have scored twice since then, both goals by Foligno. Dubinsky throws it up high. Tooten takes the pass from Jack Johnson, off the pad of Anderson. Up high, drilled. Jackets, Calvert, moved by Maroon into Columbus territory. Tooten back to hustle. R.J. Umberger trying to fight off Penner circling the net. Dustin Penner fires from a sharp angle. Bobrovsky the stop. Stepping in off the point there was Lindholm. Puck ricochets off a leg and is played by Jack Johnson. Johnson flips it high and out. Bouncing puck. Lindholm ahead of R.J. Umberger. Right wing feed for Solani. Timo Solani centers. Here's Lindholm. Denied. Rebound scores. Bobrovsky makes the initial stop off the blocker, and the rebound is sent home. It's 4-2. Ryan Getzlaf.
Well, the two goals scored here in the third period by the Anaheim Ducks. It's created again coming across the line by Teemu Solani. Again, you get center drive with Penner. Solani, he's on that right side. He's able to feed Lindholm coming into that slot area. Again, they had four abreast coming across that line, but it's again the patience of Solani to be able to make that play happen from the beginning.
Getzlaf with goal number 27. He stayed with it, and with one knee on the ice was able to flip that puck over Bobrovsky. And Getzlaf and the Ducks are down by 2, a little more than 3 minutes left, but they're going to be called for icing here.
Well, there is a look at Ryan Getzlaf, and the one thing that Bruce Boudreau talked about at the beginning of the year, that he wanted to see Getzlaf start to shoot the puck more, and that has been the game. Leading this team right now in scoring. Again, we talked about Perry and Getzlaf together, but this guy's game has changed. He's taken a little bit more as far as the offensive approach. When he gets the puck, directing it to the net tonight, he was rewarded on that last one.
Break here, steered towards the net. Bobrovsky down, unable to cover up with that rebound. Less than 3 minutes left. Getzlaf with a shot that ricochets wide. Ryan Johansson tried to chop it out of the air. There's Boone Jenner, able to send it ahead. Horton sprints in. Horton fights off the check. Horton now for the right wing boards, centers it. It's picked off by Getzlaf. Ryan Getzlaf, a long lead pass for Corey Perry, and that is icing.
Well, what they're looking for right now, this is going to be pond hockey, and you had a chance to watch Corey Perry try to get behind the defense of the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're going to stretch out this ice as much as they can and try to find a way to get Perry, guys like that, behind the defense and make that long pass. You can see very unhappy on the icing call.
Two and a half minutes left. The Ducks have outshot the Blue Jackets 35-33. Jack Johnson. Feder Tooten out there. Jackets win the draw. Tooten settles it down. Rims it around the boards. Cut off here along the wall. Vatanen taken out of the play by Matt Calvert. Pressure coming on Fowler. Calvert deep on the forecheck. Outlet pass for Cogliano. Rink wide. Carried in offside. Palmieri.
Now, Todd Richards has to be happy with his hockey team right now. Even though, again, 2:11 left on the clock, this game is far from over. The thing that the Jackets can do, you get a hold of the puck off of the glass into the neutral zone, get a little trap play, a little one-man forecheck, and stand them up at the blue line. You cannot afford to give up that defensive blue line to a speed team like Anaheim.
Ninth home start for Anderson. He, coming into this one, 7-0 with a 1.42 goals against average. A .953 save percentage. The Jackets have put 4 goals past Anderson here tonight. Now, less than 2 minutes remain. Corey Perry hangs onto that puck. Slides it cross ice. Boschman with a backhand. R.J. Umberger, pressure. The net now empty. 6 skaters on for Anaheim. They trail by 2. Jackets along the wall. Anisimov can't clear. Second effort. Able to sweep it away. Foligno out there. He'll bounce one deep into Anaheim territory, and it's an icing call.
Well, Foligno tried to caution against giving that icing call. In fact, just laid it into space, but it found its way across the line, so it is icing. Those guys will remain on the ice. Face off back into their own zone. Jackets for the night get 51%. And a great first period. Right now, I believe Bruce Boudreau will take his timeout. Make sure he gets his troops back on. Again, a 2-goal lead. They're playing at home. They'll be able to draw something up both ends of the corner.
Well, it wasn't until recently that the Ducks even lost the game in regulation at home. They started 20-0-2. They lost but twice, both in overtime and shootouts, but have dropped 3 of the previous 5 prior to tonight. The Jackets hope to make it 4 of 6. There's a minute 11 remaining. Jackets moving on to Los Angeles, as we mentioned from the outset. The 3 Western teams here in California have combined for 58 wins, just 15 regulation losses, 8 in overtime or shootouts in 81 home games combined by the 3 West Coast teams. A .765 winning percentage. Superb effort tonight by the Blue Jackets, and we thank those of you that have remained up with us late tonight. Jackets, Horton fails to clear. Anisimov tried to play it. Jackets battle Horton walks it out. Backhands a pass for a Nisimov that fails. Into the final minute. Puck hammered ahead. Palmieri unable to get a stick on it, and it is an icing call against Anaheim, which will force Anderson back into the nets. Between the pipes in Ducks territory.
There's one guy that had one heck of a night. That's Fedor Tutin. Fedor Tutin did a nice job. He and Jack Johnson defensively all night long. You match them up against Getzlaf and Perry. And they did an admirable job.
We expected that from the outset. Talked about it in the open of tonight's telecast. And Jack Johnson, whose offensive numbers have certainly improved here over the last month, but tonight the defensive responsibilities, and both he and Tutin have shined. Final 30 seconds. Puck swept up high. Jackets. Dubinsky able to send it to center. Far side of the ice. That's Jack Johnson. Trying to protect that puck against Corey Perry. Tutin is in that corner as well. Johnson gets his stick free. Horton is on the ice with the defensive responsibilities. Rimmed off the wall. Fowler able to keep it in. Final seconds. Fowler towards the net. Off a leg. Johansson can't clear as the horn goes. The Blue Jackets start this West Coast trip in fine fashion. Sergei Bobrovsky keeping the Jackets in this one until the offense could get on track. A pair of power play goals. And that is the difference as the Blue Jackets double up on the Ducks tonight. 4-2, and it's on to Los Angeles for a Thursday evening affair before concluding the pre-Olympic schedule Friday night in San Jose against the Sharks. And the last but not least, Foligno hug. Bobrovsky and Foligno congratulate one another. Foligno with 2 goals.